Welcome back to the Tropical Update. It's Saturday, September 23rd. I'm Tom, and I'll be guiding you through the graphics. We're going to be talking about Hurricane Maria and if it's going to have any effect on the east coast of the U.S., and we'll also be looking at its possible track in the next few days. Well, first up, let's look at the data on Maria. At 11 p.m., it was 365 miles east of Nassau in the Bahamas. The winds were 125 miles an hour. Pressure was 954 millibars, and it was moving north-northwest at 9 miles an hour. They do expect this intensity to stay, and also pretty much that forward speed. Now, here is our cone. And just looking at that, it has changed a little bit. It has jogged a little bit over toward the west at the northern part. And also at 8 p.m. Thursday on the cone, it is still showing that Maria is still going to be a hurricane. So that tells you there's going to be some very heavy waves, possible wind. Now, talking about wind, here is tropical force winds. And if you look at Cape Hatteras area in North Carolina, they're getting into that area where there's a 60% chance that they will see tropical force winds. And that has moved obviously over to the west on the last couple runs. Next, we're going to show you our models. They have changed a little bit. One thing, they are actually showing it coming a little closer to North Carolina than they did before. And they were showing, now it's showing more of that northeast turn once it gets up past North Carolina. Here is another one that they just ran. And looking at this, it may be a little hard to see, but they're actually showing it, some of the models are showing it over the Outer Banks of North Carolina. So we're going to really have to watch this really close, because this model is pretty reliable and is getting that close to North Carolina. Now, here is the watches and warnings. There are just tropical storm warnings out right now for the central and southern Bahama Islands, and being that it's 365 miles away from the Bahamas, Nassau, I don't think they'll be putting up much more watches and warnings. And this just sort of shows you where Maria is. The L you see up there off of New England, that was Jose. It is just strictly a low now. They're not even giving any information on it at this 11 p.m. advisory. It's pretty much done for. And this is another model that they just ran. And this is 105 hours from midnight, Saturday midnight. And you can see this is actually of wave heights. But you can see how close they're showing the center coming to the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and some very big waves, possibly 20 feet or larger. Now, here is a picture of Maria. It still looks very well. The eye is very pronounced. A lot of convection around the eye. Very heavy convection, actually. And the feeder bands reach out pretty long ways. So it's still a very healthy storm, and it's still in some pretty good waters. So you'd expect that. Now, here is our beach forecast, Myrtle Beach and Carolina Beach, that area. We're back to a warning now, our red, and that is they don't want you to go into the water at all because of rip currents, and also the waves are going to be increasing very soon. And here is our UV index. It's around an 8 to a 7, depending on Myrtle Beach or Carolina Beach. and that means that in the middle of the day you should not go out more than 15-20 minutes, or you could get a burn without sunscreen. Well, thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you for all the subscribers. We appreciate it. And we're going to be looking at these models as they come in through the night here, and see what is going to trend maybe a little more toward the west. Until then, have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.